We begin with disturbing new numbers on sexual assault within Canada's armed forces. Statistics Canada surveyed more than 18,000 members over 3 months, and nearly 2,000 of them reported they were sexually assaulted, either inside or outside the workplace in 2022 by another member of the military. That's roughly 3.5% of the members, more than double the rate reported in 2018. So how significant a setback is this in the years-long effort to clean up Canada's military culture? Here's Defence Minister Bill Blair's response.
An increase in reporting is deeply concerning to us, but I think it can also be indicative of a perhaps greater confidence among victims that if they do come forward and bring forward their complaints, that they will be taken seriously. That really is our greatest responsibility.
Lieutenant General Jenny Carignan is the Canadian Armed Forces Chief of Professional Conduct and Culture. General, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, David.
So let's start with the numbers. The number of Armed Forces members who say they were assaulted by another member of the military has more than doubled between 2018 and 2022. Why is the number of assaults going up and not down?
Yeah, so David, we are very concerned about those numbers and that report, and this definitely indicates that the urgent work that we are doing in this space is very important and a priority for us, and definitely informing our work in a comprehensive way. So again, very, very concerned about those numbers.
But you've been in this role a little over 2 years now. I mean, what was your reaction when you saw that it seems to be going in the wrong direction?
So what we need to do now that we have that report is spend time to analyze and determine what they actually mean. In the case of the increase in sexual assaults and in sexualized behaviors, we understand that this can be both encouraging and at the same time a bad news, meaning that it could mean an increase in awareness. People are more aware of what constitutes sexual misconducts and being more familiar as to what to report. But at the same time, we want to eradicate those misconducts within our teams. So we are not at the point now where we can actually determine exactly what this means and then want to conduct more analysis and bring this together with the research, with the extensive research that we have, as well as with surveys, other types of surveys we have, and finally the external review reports that we also have. So bringing all of this together to have a better picture.
But General, beyond the top line numbers, there's some underlying things here that are pretty alarming as well. Most military members who said they experienced these assaults also said they did not report them to authorities, with the biggest reason behind this being that they believed it wouldn't make a difference. So
we know that there are barriers to reporting. And reporting is a very personal and complex thing. So the dynamics behind our folks deciding to come forward with complaints are complex and very personal. So we also see within the survey that our members have clearly stated as well that even with new policies and processes in place and a safe environment, that they would still not come forward with complaints. So this illustrates barriers to reporting, which is why the approach we have taken over the last 2 years is come up with a tailored approach to reporting, more victim-centric, which means that victims have more agency as to how they want to report. So we have now created space where victims can go directly to the Human Rights Commission. We are repealing the duty to report, which also contributes to make it more available in terms of reporting, as well as using a chain of command or reporting to the police. So many options, many avenues for reporting.
But you know, you hear about things like a whisper network of people talking about their experiences, warning about bad actors, and here you have in the data, among those who reported an assault, nearly 2/3 said they faced some sort of negative consequence, either bullying or impacts on their career or further victim blaming. People are going to talk about this, and that becomes a barrier. I mean, what do you need to do to build trust in the system and remove consequences for people who have been wronged and come forward.
This is absolutely what we are seeing as well via many other data that we have tracking. So removing those barriers is part of the work we are doing. So working currently in overhauling our complaint system to make it more victim-centric, but also removing the barriers that people encounter at the people level as teams interact with each other. So it's a work of addressing human dynamics, but at the same time addressing policies and procedures.
But it sounds like you have bad actors who perpetrate assaults and then bad actors who punish people who complain about the assaults. I mean, that's not just procedural. This speaks to, I know we've talked a lot about cultural challenges inside the CAF, but this sort of thing seems like arguably your biggest impediment to fixing things if people are going to be punished for being hurt.
And it's absolutely unacceptable. And this is the part that we are doing in terms of prevention, increasing level of awareness on how to best receive complaints and how to best deal with this. What we also see in the survey is an increase of awareness. So the survey also clearly indicates a raised awareness amongst the majority of our members. Our members are also noticing improvements over the course of their career and generally have a positive perception of their workplace. So there's indications of both, and then working at holding people accountable, and then working at removing those barriers to reporting.
I guess it's not just the number and the reporting issues, it's also who is being affected here. Obviously, there are underrepresented communities in the military. Obviously, women are a big part of this, but Indigenous people, LGBTQ+, and people with disabilities. How do you improve the culture of the military? How do you deal with capacity challenges and recruitment challenges when these groups obviously finding it hard to serve safely and with dignity?
Yes, and more vulnerable communities within our ranks. We have targeted initiatives to support our folks that are from the various communities, but also working in the prevention space. What I mean by that is incorporating training on professional conduct progressively across all ranks, across their full career, to make sure that people are better aware, better understand what misconducts are about and what it looks like. We also need to understand that we are working against generations of normalized behavior, things that we have historically, both in the society and in our institutions, have adopted as kind of normal.
Like
and,
what?
Like jokes or behaviors, or in the way we are exercising authority, the way we exercise leadership. So we are currently working at developing different leadership styles than what we have normally seen in the military as well, via coaching, via professional development and all of that. So this is part of addressing the people dynamics, because we could have the best policies, the best rules in place. If it doesn't rest within a culture that is welcoming and accepting, those policies won't take root.
How much of it is alcohol and a culture of drinking in the military? Because fully 1/3 of the members who say they were sexually assaulted in 2022, they blame it on substance abuse, namely booze.
So we are seeing that absolutely in 1/3 of the case as per the survey, but we are also tracking this as part of our reporting systems within our organization. Where factor does contribute to misconduct. So it's acting in the prevention space, understanding that alcohol is not a way to build teams. It's not a mechanism by way to build teams. Nobody should feel pressure to drink alcohol in a social setting. And also that there needs to be options presented to our members as we organize various events.
What about bans from alcohol in certain places, certainly, you know, on base or on mission? What about options like that? Because clearly, if the rate of sexual assaults are going up and 1 in 3 people who were assaulted say alcohol played a significant factor, and then if they report it, they face consequences, there is a cycle here that needs to be broken at some point.
And alcohol is definitely a place we are watching in the space of any types of misconducts per se. There are areas and contexts right now within the military where alcohol is dry, where our forces are dry. That's clear, and there's clear directions in that space. Whether we are on operation or when people are on exercise, field exercise, and so on. Now, when we are talking in social settings, when we have social events, members of the military can live and work at the same place. This is a bit the nature of our work as well. And we have to live by the law of our land and making our people responsible and accountable for their behavior.
But you know, we talk about the military in 3 broad themes. I mean, outside of the great work people do responding to a natural disaster or what they did during COVID, we talk about equipment shortages, we talk about capacity shortages, and then we talk about this particular issue. And it feels like the capacity shortages in terms of recruitment can't be solved in a meaningful way until this is solved in a significant way. And when you look at these numbers, it looks to me like it's getting worse, not better. Do you see it that way? How do you think the public will see it when they see the top line numbers increasing at this rate?
From our perspectives, the approach that we are taking with sexual misconducts and any other types of misconduct is we want to address it in a very transparent manner. We are addressing it. We are engaged in addressing it. We want to create a safer workplace for our members to grow.
But do you think that's happening? Do you think it's working?
We are clearly seeing progress at the moment. We have been engaged with over 16,000 members of the defense team over the last 2 years, and we clearly see progress. People are reporting to us that their leadership is handling issues differently. Being more active in the prevention space as well as focusing on victims support, and then again on making sure that we modify our methods, modernize our methods in training and growing people within our military.
Lieutenant General Jenny Carignan, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, David.